Okay, well folks, we finally got the day we were looking for. I didn't expect this much, but it's going to be 90 degrees here in a little bit. So that's perfect for pulling the Reata. And I've been telling some guys on the deal that I'd be doing this. So what you got to know, this is a piece of oak. And there's a series of holes drilled through it. And depending on the diameter of the Reata and the stiffness of it dictates how many holes I'll end up going through. But first starting out, I've got it going through 4 holes. Now the way this works is because of the proximity of the holes, and I've already greased this with kidney fat, so it's ready to pull, is as this goes through these holes, this oak will get really, really hot because of friction. And when it gets hot, it's going to make this kidney fat go into the rawhide. It'll basically cook it right into the Reata. And there's a lot of things you can do with Reatas, but all I'm going to do, like everything else, I'm just going to show you what I do. What the deal is that when I get these Reatas, they're too stiff to rope with. And they're like a coil spring, which is like a lot of people get. So I need to pull them, is the term. I'm going to pull my Reata. Hale means pull. So the Hondo end is down there. And this is an 86-foot Reata. So you take a hay string and put several half hitches on the tail end of it, and then hook it up to a regular rope that I can dally around the horn. So I'll be pulling that 86-foot Reata all the way to where the Hondo is right here. Now what I do is I'll head off at a 45 and pull it, and then lay it down and come back and get the other end, which will be up here now, and then head out pulling it that way. That way your horse never steps on the Reata. So this is my dally rope, and this is how it's done. Now, typically, I've got several different Reatas, but typically it's about 25 pulls minimum. 25 trips back and forth. Then you take it all apart, thread the Hondo, swing it, throw it at something, see if you like it. And if it's not there, then you keep pulling it. I've pulled them as many as 100 times. Now when I've got them, I usually have a colt that I can school, and this is how you teach them to log. But I don't have one right now. So I'll be using old Snakes in the Grass here, and you can probably guess why I'm using him. But anyway, that's the setup of how this works. Now you can use oak, mesquite, and my friend Jay Harney, he always used a juniper post, but it was an actual fence post in the ground, and the holes were drilled like this. And that is another way of doing this. I just chose this way because it's mobile. I can hook this rope up on a fence or anywhere I want. So that's basically how it works, and then we get going, you'll see how I do it. Thanks. And besides putting the kidney fat into the Reata, what I'm doing is rounding out the braid. It's a 4-strand, and every little knob on that Reata gets smooth. So when you're sliding rope, you don't tear all your horn wrap out. this is a lot better.
Yeah, he's...
Well, folks, you saw the pulling of the Reata yesterday. It's how it's the mechanical side of it. But I wanted to kind of reiterate as to the way it works. This is the log I was pulling through yesterday. And this is oak. Now I have one of oak and one of mesquite. It doesn't matter which one you use for me. And I know there's oak trees everywhere. But what I want you to notice is these dark lines right here. And that's from where the Reata goes through the hole. And because of the kidney fat and the speed that I'm pulling it, which is at a walk, it slides across there. So as it's sliding across, the more holes you go through, the harder it is to pull. So this is just to give you an example. The friction of going in and out of the holes and the heat drives the kidney fat into the center of the Reata. So it's basically cured all the way through. If the inside of the Reata is dry and the outside of the Reata is greased up, then the inside is where the most of the strain is on because it's dry. Get it? And that's how you can. That's one of the ways you can break a Reata. Now I'd like to show you. This one hasn't been pulled, and this one has. Now another reason for pulling them the way I do is so that I can take the bumps off I can help smooth out the Reata. As you know, it's a 4-strand braid, and every single strand has a little bump to it. Well, the bigger the bumps, like this one, the bumps are bigger, which tells me I'm going to have to pull it more. Is if you think about it, the bigger the bumps are, the more it slows down your dolly. So when I have this one that's greased and the bumps are pulled through the holes, and this is more round and this is more bumpy, one that hasn't been pulled, you can eat up a horn wrap in a day with them because of the roughness of them. So there's good news and bad news here. The good news for me is this will slide better. The bad news is if you don't know how to slide rope and you're scared of sliding rope, then you probably need to get over that, because this makes it faster. But once you get onto this, it'll turn into a habit. Now what I wanted to show you was the difference in the Reata. This is one that hasn't been pulled. Okay? If you look at it, the coils are like that. That's what it's like. And a lot of people that buy Reatas, when they get them home and they take them out, they almost spring out of the box and they try to make a loop, and all it does is keep doubling up. Well, this is that 86 footer I was telling you about. And since it's been pulled, now the coils are not as stiff. Get it? So that way, when I am sliding rope, and those of you that use polys, I think you'll agree that after you use a poly for a while, it's kind of tricky dallying and sliding rope, if you do slide rope, because the rope starts to kink. Well, this will help avoid that if you've got your Reata softened up. Now when you build a loop, I pull them as many times as I think I need to where they're going to they're going to hang real good. And one of the ways to test it is you just make a regular loop and hold it up. And when you hold it, it should hang like a regular loop. And if it's figure-eighted and kinked around about 3 or 4 times, then it's going to just give you fits. You try to swing it out of it, you try to do a lot of things, but it doesn't help. So this loop now is kind of like a poly. Well, which in the real world, the Reata was replaced by the poly because of the cost and the simplicity of a poly being a manufactured rope. Well, this is one reason the poly got so popular, is because it feels kind of like a Reata, the people that use Reatas. This has also been pulled. This was the other one. This was the 60-footer. And now it's ready to get on the payroll. Now, for those of you that look at these and you think they're so ragged out, how could you possibly use them? You got to understand that the concept of the Reata, like for heeling, is for it to hang over the hip. If you hang the loop over the back, then the cow carries it with him. You don't run up and throw a team rope and trap and expect to get 2 feet every time, because it falls down. Well, if you learn how to split the loop and hold your arm up, you can get away with heeling from behind like team roping. The Reata is designed to go lay over the back. So when you throw a trap, the back is what's holding the Reata up. That's the ocho. So that's one of the big differences in this. And a lot of people, they quit using Reatas or don't like them or don't want to learn or whatever reason because of them dying on the ground. So now this rope is a lot softer than it was, meaning like the difference between a heel rope and a head rope. They start off feeling like a heeling rope, and then after you pull them, they turn into a head rope, if you want to compare to something. So if I get in a position where I need to heel something and it's moving like I'm with somebody else, and I just got to go up behind it and heel it, I just split the loop and keep my hand up high. So now when I have my trap set, I've already got my hand up. If I throw the whole thing, it'll lay flat on the ground. And that's where a lot of people get discouraged. That's not how you handle a Reata. If I come in for my trap and just throw it, that's what it does. That's why you split the loop and hang on to the handle. Anyway, to wrap it up, I like Reatas. They're right up there with the spade bit. And I've said it before, if you can't slide rope, you can't make a bridle horse. And that means you have to slide rope so you don't betray a good horse. The Reatas are fun, very expensive, but they're fun to use, and this is what the original ranch roping was designed for. Now, but what will happen is that I'll use these now. I'll pull these, and I'll use these, and once I've roped with them a while, they're going to stiffen up a little bit more because now I literally have stretched them. When you're pulling a Reata, you're not necessarily stretching it because you're going through all those holes. But when you actually rope and dally, that's when you start to stretch them. And it'll be just, I mean, absolutely fun and perfect to rope with. So I do like the saddles. I rope with them a while and then I sell them. So anyway, that's the story on pulling a Reata. Got any questions, just give us a call. Good luck and have fun. And make sure and do it horseback. Just as a small note, I know a dink that pulled a Reata with a four-wheeler, and I hope he has 4 flats. Thank you. Goodbye.